Hey everyone, and welcome to a video where I select 24 mobs from the hit game Minecraft for me to draw as object characters. Some of the choices I made may surprise you, or they may not, I really can't say yet. Before we get into it, I would like to remind you all to like the video and subscribe with notifications on if you enjoy the video, as it would be much appreciated. I'm gonna start with passive mobs, then move on to neutral, hostile, and finally the boss mobs. First up, the farm animals. Except the sheep. I don't know why, but I ended up deciding not to do that one. Call me predictable, but for the pig, I just made it a raw pork chop. What I did for these mobs is that I kinda tried to make it so that their limbs match how the limbs are in-game, rather than just make them more like traditional object characters. The cat wasn't too different from the pig, except I made it a steak instead of raw beef. And the mushroom is a bowl of mushroom stew, but with the bowl colored like a red mushroom. For the chicken though, instead of drawing a chicken breast, I had it be a feather instead. Villagers should be another obvious one, and they are. I made them be emeralds because trading with emeralds is the thing that they're known for. I considered making variants for the different professions villagers can have, but I ended up not doing that because I had already spent a decent amount of time drawing all these assets. Frogs are next, and even though they come in 3 different colors depending on the temperature of the biome they spawned in, I only made 1 frog character, and the design is supposed to look like a frog-like, specifically the pearlescent variant, which spawns from warm frogs eating magma cubes. I'll admit, the parrot was a pretty fun one to do for me. I made the base shape of it be like a musical note where the top part is the beak. I also gave it bird legs like I did with the chicken, though I like this design far better than the chicken. I think it's one of my favorites from the whole bunch actually. For the rabbit, I kinda wanted a cutesy design, and I also didn't want to just do another food object. So instead, I went with a lucky rabbit's foot and gave it rabbit features. Isn't it just adorable? I'm gonna be completely honest, I probably shouldn't have chosen the turtle as one of them, because it was kind of difficult to come up with anything for it. So I ended up just making it into a turtle shell, and calling it a day. Finally, we have the newest mob that is currently implemented into the game, the sniffer. Like the name implies, it sniffs for ancient seeds and then digs into soft ground. Needless to say, I did the obvious thing and turned it into a nose. It's so dumb, isn't it? Now we move on to neutral mobs. If you don't know, neutral mobs will only attack the player if they're provoked or made hostile by some other condition. First off is the spider, and I went the predictable route again. Turned it into a cobweb with 6 red eyes and 6 limbs just like spiders have in-game. I didn't realize how few neutral mobs I'd actually picked out, because the only other one I did was the Enderman. For this one I made it into an Ender Pearl, not just because Endermen drop them, but also because they can teleport, and Ender Pearls allow teleportation when they're thrown. I also gave it extra long legs just like an Enderman has. The most famous hostile mob of all is one that you very likely would know even without having ever played the game. The Creeper. Tall, green, and explosive, just like a stick of dynamite. So that's what I did. I made the Creeper into a tall green stick of dynamite with black bands. Zombies are also a very well-known mob outside of the game, and their most well-known drop is rotten flesh. So a hunk of rotten flesh is the object that will represent the zombie. Similar story for drowns, an underwater variant of zombies. I made them into tridents, which they can often be seen carrying. Skeletons are a common mob as well, best known for their use of the bow and arrow. A skeleton, if it were to be turned into an object character, would definitely be a skull, it's too obvious. And I gave this one a bow and arrow because skeletons use bows and arrows. Witches look like they are evil villagers, probably because they technically are, as villagers can turn into witches when hit by lightning. What they're actually best known for is potions, so a potion is what I will make them into. Silverfish are one of the most annoying mobs in the game, appearing in some stone blocks and mountains. I decided to do something funny with its design though. What if they were literal silverfish? As in, a silverfish, but a silver ingot. You probably haven't heard of breezes, even if you have played the game extensively, and that's because they aren't actually in the game yet, not until 1.21. Since they attack using the wind, I made it into a tornado. Come to think of it, I'm not sure I know of any object characters who are tornadoes. Slimes are way too easy of a choice for this prompt. I don't know why I picked them, because they're technically already object characters. So I just took the base design and made it less blocky. Similar story for magma cubes, I just made them into magma cream. Well, we're in the nether. From the magma cubes, let's convert another nether mob, the Ghast. Since we already have an explosive in the Creeper Dynamite, I did something based on the Ghast tier instead. And the way their limbs are is a reference to the fact that Ghasts can fly, so this Ghast tier would also be able to fly. Back in the overworld, we have the Elder Guardian, the most difficult non-boss mob that's meant to be killable. For this one, I wanted to keep the same general shape of it as well as keeping it aquatic, so I made it into a spike ball, but with a fish's tail. Finally, we have the two boss mobs. For them, The designs I did are admittedly a bit underwhelming. For the dragon, I did a bottle of dragon's breath, but I did give her wings and a snout for what it's worth. The wither was even more predictable. I took 3 of the skeleton skulls, turned them black, and placed them on top of a lump of soul sand vaguely shaped like the wither's body. And that's all of the mobs I converted into object characters. Feel free to use them for whatever you want as long as you give credit. There will be a Google Drive link in the description with the poses and the base assets. If there's other games or shows you'd like to see me do this for, suggest them in the comments. Once again, make sure to like and subscribe with notifications on, and I'll see you all in the next video.